Have you ever wondered why some people seem to notice everything around them? The little details, the subtle shifts in tone, the things others miss entirely. Chances are, you've met someone quiet, someone who sits back, observes, and rarely speaks but somehow knows more than anyone else in the room. Today, we're diving into the psychology of silent people and why their quiet nature is actually a superpower. Let's start with a simple truth. Being silent doesn't mean being unaware. In fact, the opposite is often true. Quiet people spend less energy talking and more energy watching, listening, and processing. Their brains are constantly scanning the environment, picking up cues, patterns, and behaviors that most of us miss. Have you ever been in a meeting or a social gathering and noticed the quiet person nodding or raising an eyebrow at just the right moment? That's not luck. That's focused observation. Think about the last time you were in a group conversation. Did you notice how some people talk to fill silence while others stay back, listening intently? The quiet ones are not just passive there, actively absorbing information, making connections in their mind, and reading the room with precision. This skill is deeply rooted in psychology. Human attention is a limited resource. By speaking less, quiet people free up their mental bandwidth to notice patterns, emotions, and intentions that others overlook. Let's consider a relatable example. Imagine a coworker silently observing a meeting while everyone else is debating who gets credit for a project. This quiet person notices subtle tension between team members. They see who is uncomfortable, who is stressed, and who is genuinely engaged. Later, they can approach the situation thoughtfully, often resolving conflicts before anyone else even realized there was a problem. Reflection prompt: next time you are around a quiet person, try to observe what they might be noticing that you're missing. Another key aspect of silent people is empathy. By observing more and talking less, they develop a kind of emotional radar. They pick up micro-expressions, shifts in voice tone, body language cues, all signals that reveal someone's true feelings. Think about a friend who rarely speaks but somehow knows exactly when you're upset. That's not magic. That's silent observation paired with emotional intelligence. Example 2. In a family setting, a quiet sibling might notice subtle changes in a parent's mood before anyone else does. They sense tension in the air, a slight slump in posture, or a pause in speech. By paying attention, they can offer support or intervene in small but meaningful ways. Actionable tip: practice observing without reacting. Spend 5 minutes today watching a conversation without speaking. Note the gestures, expressions, and tone. You'll start seeing layers that normally go unnoticed. Micro recap: silence is not emptiness. It's attention, observation, and insight in action. But why are some people naturally silent while others are talkative? Research in psychology suggests it comes down to personality traits and cognitive processing. Introverts, for example, are wired to process stimuli internally. They don't need constant external input to engage. They think deeply before responding. This doesn't mean introverts are antisocial. It means they prioritize quality of thought over quantity of speech. Example 3. In a classroom or workshop, quiet students often absorb lessons more thoroughly, while others are blurting out answers. They are connecting dots in their mind, noticing patterns, and remembering details that slip past more talkative peers. Reflection prompt. When was the last time your silence actually gave you an advantage? Here is another insight. Silent people often excel in social observation because they are less biased by ego. Talking constantly can unconsciously make you focus on yourself, your image, your impression, your performance. Staying quiet shifts focus outward. It allows observation without the distortion of self-consciousness. Mini task. In your next social interaction, try speaking half as much as usual. Focus on what is happening around you rather than what you're going to say next. Notice the details others might miss. But being silent isn't just about observing others. It's also about internal reflection. Quiet people tend to have rich inner lives. They notice their own emotions, thought patterns, and impulses. This self-awareness allows them to respond to situations thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Example 4. During a disagreement, a quiet person might pause, notice their rising frustration, and choose their words carefully. Meanwhile, someone who speaks immediately might escalate the situation without realizing it. Actionable tip. Spend 3 minutes each day in silent reflection. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What cues did I notice in others today? How can I respond thoughtfully instead of reacting automatically? Now, you might wonder, can anyone develop these skills? Absolutely. Absolutely. Observational power, empathy, and internal reflection are not limited to quiet personalities. They're habits anyone can practice. The key is slowing down, listening more, and observing with intention. Reflection prompt. Try noticing one thing today that usually goes unnoticed. A slight change in a friend's mood, a new detail in your surroundings, or a subtle pattern at work. Actionable mini task. Pick a conversation and focus entirely on the other person. Count how many cues, expressions, gestures, tone changes you noticed without interrupting. Micro recap. Quietness fuels observation, empathy, and reflection. These are tools that make silent people extraordinarily aware and socially intelligent. Let's talk about one more hidden benefit. Problem solving. Silent people often excel here because their brains make connections behind the scenes. By quietly observing and processing, they notice patterns, anticipate challenges, and come up with solutions others overlook. Example 5. Imagine a project at work derailing while loud voices are blaming or panicking. The quiet observer sees the missing link, predicts the outcome, and suggests a solution that resolves the problem quickly. Emotional micropause. Remember, if you're naturally quiet, this is your strength. You don't need to speak constantly to be powerful or impactful. Final reflection prompt. Think about your own life. How can you use silence to notice more, understand more, and act more effectively? Before we wrap up, here's a simple routine to boost your silent observation skills. Step 1. Pause in conversations. Before responding, listen fully. Step 2. Make mental notes of subtle details in body language and tone. Step 3. Reflect internally for a minute. What does this information tell me? Step 4. Act thoughtfully, based on your observations. Step 5. Journal 1 insight from your day to reinforce the habit. Closing thought. Silence is not emptiness. It's attentiveness, insight, and quiet power. By noticing more, reflecting more, and speaking intentionally, you gain clarity, empathy, and influence. Call to action. Today, embrace a little silence. Observe, reflect, and see what you've been missing. And next time we'll explore how this same skill can turn you into a master of understanding others' hidden motives.